Greg Ehrenberg here from Odd Shopper. It's time for more MLB best bets. So do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and leave a comment below. Let me know what it is that you guys are betting on today. My bets, I'm going to be focusing on the later games because there's afternoon games and night games on Wednesday. But by the time this comes out, a lot of the Wednesday afternoon games will already be in action. So I'm going to be focusing on the night games. But what do you guys have money on? And if that bet wins, you get a chance to win some free stuff. And a shout out to a winner from yesterday, Rob D. He posted in the YouTube chat that he was betting the Cleveland Guardians -1.5. They had Shane Bieber on the mound against the Detroit Tigers, ended up winning that game 5-2. So Rob, you win one free week of our premium betting Discord. Just message me on Twitter and I'll get you set up with that. You guys want a chance to win? Just comment below with whatever it is that you guys are betting on today. It could be anything from a run line, a money line, a player prop, no run first inning, whatever it is, leave a comment below. I'm about to get into my picks, but first, oh boy, have I been on a cold streak, guys. This has been a terrible week of bets for me. Hoping to break out of the funk, but you want to give me some heat in the comment section? It's cool. I get it. I can take it. But also, if you want to watch the video and fade me, you could do that as well. If you are convinced that I suck right now, which I have this week, go ahead and take the other side of my bets as well. But just engage with me in the comment section. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, and I read all those comments. But without further ado, hoping to break out of my cold streak with the best bets from Wednesday's games. First bet of the day I'm looking at, it is under 6.5 strikeouts for Nick Pivetta. And I know we're laying some juice on the under here, but it does seem to be worthwhile because 6.5 is a really big number for Nick Pivetta against the Braves. And while the Braves are a team that swing and miss at a decent clip, they also have a potent offense. And Nick Pivetta isn't exactly a great pitcher. So they might hit him fairly hard early in the game, and that might inhibit his ability to work deep into the game. We currently have Pivetta projected for 5.2 strikeouts, so the under projected to win 72% of the time. When it comes to Pivetta's numbers this year, strikeouts are down from last year, and the overall results just not great. 4.51 ERA, 4.49 expected ERA, and for his career, this is a pitcher with an ERA north of 5. So it's hard for me to really look at Pivetta and think this is some great pitcher or anything like that. His K rate for the year, only 22.6% compared to last year being at 26.5%. So he's been less effective. Then we've also got the strikeout numbers being down. As a result, it makes it really hard for me to think that he's all that likely to hit 7+ strikeouts. The last time he had more than 7 strikeouts in a start, oddly enough, came in a start against the Cardinals. It was way back, nearly 2 months ago, June 19th against the Cardinals. The Cardinals, the reason I say it's surprising is this is one of the most difficult teams for a right-hand pitcher to strike out. He had 10 in that start, but he's been at 6 or less in every single start since then. So we're talking about nearly 10 starts since we last saw Pivetta hit the over on this mark. And for the season, he's only hit the over 4 times. So 22 starts for Nick Pivetta. He's had 6 or less strikeouts in 18 of them. This line is right now set at 6.5. I know the juice is on the under, but like I said, we have this bet winning over 70% of the time. Still makes the under worthwhile. So I'm looking at Nick Pivetta for under 6.5 strikeouts to open up my betting card. Today's show is sponsored by BetMGM. And if you guys want to get good value in sports betting, it's one thing to win sports bets. Obviously, that is the ultimate goal. But signing up at new books is the easiest way to create value for yourself. And if you sign up at BetMGM right now, either using the promo code OSMLB or signing up using the link in the description box below, they're going to give you a risk-free bet for up to $1,000 when you place your first bet on the site. All you do is sign up using that link or the promo code. And then when you head on over to BetMGM and place your first bet, if it loses, they're going to refund you with free bets up to $1,000. So you can't lose on that first bet. It's going to get refunded. These are the kind of offers that you really should be taking advantage of while they exist because they're not going to be around forever. So when you sign up at BetMGM, just make sure to use our promo code and get yourself a risk-free bet to help build your bank account. The next bet I'm looking at, it's a surprisingly high over-under strikeouts for Madison Bumgarner at 5.5. And obviously, there was a point in time where Madison Bumgarner was one of the best pitchers in baseball. In our generation, assuming you guys are about the same age as me, he's been one of the best postseason performers, particularly in the World Series. He was lights out, but that was so many years ago. Bumgarner's just not that guy anymore, and he has a good matchup against the Pirates today, but an over-under of 5.5 strikeouts for a pitcher with a 15.8% K rate, it's just too high of a mark. Bumgarner this year, the 3.96 ERA doesn't look terrible at first glance, but he's a 5.14 expected ERA, a 4.64 FIP. He's been really buoyed by a couple of things. Number one, the BABIP, a little bit of luck there, 295, and then also a a 73.3% strand rate, and all projection models have him as a guy who should have a strand rate in like the mid-upper 60% range. So if all that stuff was to normalize, we're looking at a pitcher, Madison Bumgarner, who would have an ERA close to 5. Zips has him projected with a 4.86 ERA the rest of the season. Steamer has him projected with a 4.92 ERA. And the last couple of years, 4.67 ERA, 6.48. It's really a fair indicator that that is kind of the level of pitcher he's at this point in his career. 33 years old now, and the pretty significant decrease in his velocity. He's had shoulder injuries. He was in a pretty bad bike accident, which also derailed part of his career. And then just the strikeouts, like I said, only 15.8%. It's hard to expect any kind of real upside from Madison Bumgarner in the strikeout department. He has had a total of 3 starts out of 22 the entire season where he's had 6 or more strikeouts. So just like when we were talking about Nick Pivetta, it's hard to think he's all that likely to strike out this many hitters. He had 1 start against the Nationals a couple weeks ago where he had 9 strikeouts, but that was his only start since June 1st where he had more than 5 strikeouts in an outing. So Bumgarner at this point in his career, he's been a veteran. It's not like he's getting blown up in starts. Like I said, a little bit of luck involved, but the strikeouts just aren't there for him. So you look at our projections, we have Madison Bumgarner projected for 4.5 today, which I think would be a perfectly fair line. If Madison Bumgarner had an over-under of 4.5 strikeouts, that's where I would stay away from it. But at 5.5, give me the under. We have a projected win 71% of the time. So I think this is a pretty safe bet. Madison Bumgarner under 5.5 strikeouts. The next bet I'm looking at, it's a little bit risky because of the name involved in this one, but it's under 7.5 strikeouts for Justin Verlander. We have been betting the under on his strikeouts prop a lot recently. It has hit in 2 starts in a row. And while Verlander is having a really good season, the strikeout numbers haven't been maybe as good as we might think. Last couple of starts, 5 strikeouts against the Guardians, 5 against the Mariners. And overall for the season, he's clearly been fantastic. He is now something like a minus 150 to minus 160 favorite to win the AL Cy Young, depending which book you look at. And it's justified. He's a 1.73 ERA, but that doesn't mean the strikeouts are there at the same extent that they were prior to him undergoing Tommy John surgery. So 2-year layoff for Verlander. Nobody could have seen a comeback coming to quite this extent. But as good as he's been, the strikeout rate of 25.5%, it's not quite what we saw from Verlander in the past. So he's finding success by pitching to contact, but also limiting hard contact, and he's a good defense behind him because in previous years, Bumgarner 33.3% K rate, 35.4, 34.8. So the 25.5 is a pretty big step back just in terms of his ability to generate swing and misses at this point in his career. And that's why I'm looking at this number at 7.5 and leaning towards the under. That aside, that it's been a number that we've had success with betting the unders on Verlander recently. This mark has pretty consistently been at 7.5, and it's a number that he's been under far more often than he's been over this year. And like I said, 5 strikeouts in back-to-back starts. He does have a fairly easy matchup against the Texas Rangers, but the juice is on the over here, not the under. We have him projected for 6.7 strikeouts. We have the under winning 65% of the time, good for a 28% expected ROI in our model over at Odd Chopper. So in terms of the bet here, I do think the line is a little bit too high. Going to lead towards the under here with Justin Verlander. I'm probably going to keep betting these unders as long as they stay in the 7.5 range, because more often than not, we just haven't seen these kind of strikeouts out of Verlander. For my final bet of the day, I'm looking at under 4.5 strikeouts for Kris Bubic, a pitcher that's really struggled this season. He has a 5.27 ERA, a 5.59 expected ERA. Never great when a pitcher has a 5.27 ERA and you look at the underlying numbers and go, oh, that number should be even higher of an ERA. And that also comes with a really high walk rate. The strikeouts haven't been there for Bubic. He has a career worst 18.8% strikeout rate and also a career worst 11.2% walk rate. That's always a red flag for a pitcher. They're striking out the least amount of hitters of their career and walking the most amount of hitters of their career. Never a recipe for success. He has a matchup against the White Sox team today that's frankly always injured. We've seen their entire lineup together something like 4 times the entire season, and Tim Anderson was just put on the injured list. He's going to be out for the next 4 to 6 weeks, something along those lines. But still, I just don't think Bubic is a pitcher that's capable of getting out major league hitters consistently. The over-under 4.5 strikeouts, it's not like it's a crazy high number or anything, but we do only have Bubic projected for 4 strikeouts. We have the under projected to win 63% of the time. And just based on the results of Bubic this season, it's hard to think that he's reliably going to generate very many strikeouts. And this is a White Sox team that, even though they are a little bit banged up, they are much better against left-hand pitching than they are against right-hand pitching. So the other starts that we've seen from Bubic this year. Well, actually, Bubic hasn't pitched against the White Sox at all this year. I thought for some reason he had a couple starts against them. He hasn't, but that aside, just based on all the struggles of Bubic, our projection on him, and also just the fact that how can we ever count on him to work deep into games when he's striking out so few hitters and walking so many guys, it's going to run up the pitch count. So I'm going to side with our projections here and go with under 4.5 strikeouts for Kris Bubic. That is my final bet of tonight's games. So a recap of tonight's bets, I've got 4 pitcher props, and they're all unders. Justin Verlander under 7.5 strikeouts, Madison Bumgarner under 5.5 strikeouts, Kris Bubic under 4.5 strikeouts, and then finally Nick Pivetta under 6.5 strikeouts. That's what I have money on today. What are you guys betting? Anything that's on the board, let me know. Give yourself a chance to win some free stuff. I always read your comments and look at all the stuff you guys are betting. Also, is today going to be the day I break out of my cold streak? What's your guys' level of confidence in me? Let me know that below as well. I think today, it's going to be the day. I try to remain optimistic. Today is going to be the day that we bust out and we forget about what happened Monday and Tuesday. But also, guys, do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you very much for watching, and good luck tonight.